Hello everyone, welcome to the At the Races Guide to the Jumps preview show in association with Betfair. Talking me through the season ahead, Barry Geraghty, absolute monster of the saddle when he was around, and Kevin Blake, top analyst here on At the Races and Sky Sports Racing. Great to have you with us. We're going to have a look at the novice chasers, and for me, this is always one of the most exciting categories. And you only have to look at the top of the betting for all those different big novice chasers at the Cheltenham Festival just to see what I'm saying here. Shishkin, unbelievably exciting novice hurdler last season, winning the Supreme. He's either the favourite or second favourite for the shorter races. Look at Envoi Allen smashing up the betting in two of them, second favourite for the Arkle. Galvin just keeps on winning already as the anti-post favourite for the National Hunt Chase. So much to get stuck into there. Let's start with Barry. Barry, you've ridden some of them. You've come against a lot of them. Out of all of those horses, which are the ones that you would be most excited to see just as a sort of jumps fan?
I think Shishkin, his performance in Supreme was really good. He jumps really well. He's in the Altior mode. Whether he can be as good as that, I can't say, but he's definitely shaping up like a really exciting sort. And Envoi Allen, it's hard not to love him. He's a point-to-point winner as well. He should take well defences. He's a gorgeous big horse. They would be the two.
What about trip for Envoi Allen? Well, from what you've seen, where would you be heading with him if you trained him?
Well, he's either option. He won the Royal Bond over 2 and he won the Neptune over 2.5. So he could go either way. But I'd suppose I'm sure everyone would like to think he's a Gold Cup horse for the future. And you'd imagine he'd probably go for the 2.5 mile, the Marsh Novice. But if that wasn't an option for him, he could very easily drop back for the Arkle.
It's one of those races, isn't it, Kev? Like, Shishkin doesn't look a great price at 7-2, but if he can jump, he could be odds on for the Arkle on the day.
Well, he could potentially be, Matt. Look, the thing with Shishkin is, that Supreme Novices, a little bit like, as we discussed on a previous show with the Gold Cup, you can watch the Supreme Novices back again and again and make cases for different horses. There was all sorts of carnage there at the second last, but Shishkin met with his own share of misfortune. He was hampered a couple of times. He got shuffled. I thought he showed a fantastic attitude to battle as well as he did to get back up, and look, clearly considered very much a chaser in the making. But that's the most exciting thing for me, Matt. I know you've touched on it briefly there, but I love seeing these novice chasers. You get to know them in bumpers, you get to know them over hurdles. You make your best guess as to how well they might be suited to fences, but they have to go and do it. And sometimes the most embryonic of chasers can go over the bigger obstacles and jump like an absolute wardrobe, and others jump electrically. So I can't wait to see the likes of Shishkin and even the likes of Envoi Allen, who we have seen jump fences before and point to points. Just how well they adapt to the bigger obstacles now that they're matured and schooled up and everything else. So it's a great time of season.
I mean, at bigger prices in there are horses like Sporting John and Eldorado Allen, who've already shown bits and bobs of ability, etc. Eldorado, I think he's going to be winning races, but they're like 33-1 shots for a race like this, Kev, which just shows you the strength in depth, doesn't it?
Big time. And look, so many of these horses are bought to be chasers. It's very rare that we're at this time of the year looking ahead to the novice chase divisions without a great amount of excitement. Look, this is no different. We've got some proper ones up at the top of the markets that we saw there, but we'll try and add a little bit of value in behind. And I know Easy Work is one that I quite like, trained by Gordon Elliott. I know people will look at it and say, well, Envoi Allen kicked him out of the way in the Ballymore Novices Hurdle. Why might it be any different over fences? And it might not be, but I do really like this horse, Matt. And I'd advise anyone to watch back that run in the Ballymore Novices Hurdle, because he's a horse that's made the running in the past, and Rachel Blackmore tried to take a lead with him, and he was just very free. He fought her the whole way and must have wasted an awful lot of energy. So for him to go on to run as well as he did, there must be an awful amount of ability in there. Very much looks a chaser in the making, and he's just one of those that while he has ground to make up with Envoi Allen, and he may never make up that ground, I suspect he might get a bit closer to him over fences than he did over hurdles.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many exciting horses here to wait and see. The likes of the Big Getaway, of course, could be very, very promising. Barry, you rode Sporting John at Cheltenham in the Grade 1 Novice there. Is he better going right-handed than left-handed?
No, I don't think there's any. It doesn't matter to him. It's just where he happened to do was winning. But no, he's a very good horse. He didn't turn up at Cheltenham either, for whatever reason. But he had good form before that. He probably needs to build on what he had shown in his earlier season form to trouble Envoi Allen. But the potential is there for improvement with him. And Chantry House, who ran a cracker in the Supreme, you know, he probably needs as well to improve to beat Shishkin or to beat Envoi Allen. But he is a horse with a lot of potential, and you know, he does jump really well. But there's plenty of good horses in there. Time Hill is a horse I loved all last season and probably just didn't get the clearest of passages in the Albert Bartlett. So I think he's a big player for an RSA market.
And Kevin, we've got to mention Monkfish as well, who was pretty awesome in the Albert Bartlett, but had that build and stature of a chaser. It looked like, I know it's the cliche, but hey, I can reel out cliches fairly happily. You know, everything he was doing over hurdles did look like the Brucey bonus.
Yeah, he's massive, physically massive, and it really does, like you say, look like a chaser in the making. And I suppose what you'd like about Monkfish is you watch him, you know, from his first start last season up to the Albert Bartlett, and like he showed an awful lot of improvement just in his know-how and how he went about it, and to see him battle so well to win the Albert Bartlett, you know, I wouldn't think he would have been too raw to do anything like that just a few months earlier. And look, clearly a big chaser in the making, RSA horse, but you can be sure Patrick Mullins might be making the case from early in the season that he might just stay 3 miles 6 and end up in the National Hunt Chase. And
if the cap fits, is now a Monair and Suede horse, ran at Fosslas not so long ago, beating the very, very talented Fiddler on the Roof. I mean, this is a 166 hurdler who has already shown he can jump, and you know that horse, you know, you'd be stupid to rule a horse like that out, even though it wouldn't necessarily be top of your list.
Oh, for sure. Look, with some of these, you know, you're hoping that they improve for the switch defences to bring them up to the top level. But if the cap fits, has already shown that he's very close to the top level over hurdles. So all he has to do is make that transition, and the early signs are good. So while he wouldn't be the sexiest horse we'll talk about here, you'd be brave enough to rule him out of the big race picture.
Unaccepted is a sexy horse, isn't it, Kevin?
Yeah, I tell you, I was going to mention him. I do like him. I liked him last season as a novice hurdler, and he was doing things wrong now at times. He was quite a free goer, and easy work beat him a long way at Limerick, over 2.5 miles on bad ground when unaccepted. Probably did a little bit too much and didn't quite get home. But he made his chasing debut at Tipperary the other day now, and he's actually a brother to a horse called Great Field, who I'm sure many of the viewers will remember, and he's cut from a similar cloth now. You know, he's a free goer, aggressive type, and you'd have to love the way he took the fences the other day. You know, I know Mark Walsh kind of initially wanted to take a lead, but he soon let him stride on, and he attacked his fences. He was very good, and he beat a horse that I know Joseph is very fond of called Entukas, and beat him by a long way. So, you know, horses like that, they test their opposition because they put them under pressure from quite a long way out with the gallop they go and the speed they jump at. So while he wasn't one of the more high-profile novice hurdlers last season, I think he might give some problems to a few of the nicer novice chasers around Ireland, certainly in the coming months.
Yeah. And Barry, you'll have seen the race that Kevin was just mentioning there. What did you make of it?
Oh, no, you'd have to like it. It was very exciting. Jumped really well, a lot of pace. You know, he's a brother of Great Field who had a similar racing style. So it just adds to the strength and depth in the novice division. I'd say it's as strong as it's ever been. And I think interestingly that the Albert Bartlett's going to work out well. Latest exhibition is another horse who wasn't beaten far, and I believe, speaking to Brian Cooper, he's very happy with how he schooled over fences. So he's another horse with a lot of potential, and it just adds to the excitement. There's strength and depth in every division.
He's a horse, isn't he? The connections, I think everyone would like to do well for lots of different reasons. Must just mention Chantry House, Barry, quite well beaten in the Supreme, but still third, not disgraced by any manner. Was that a horse that you always thought would make a better chaser than hurdler, or was going to be a better hurdler?
Oh no, he was a chaser in the making, and whatever he did over hurdles was only a bonus. It was a great run. He'd enjoy stepping up on trip. I'm sure in time he'd love to think he could be a Gold Cup horse of the future. He's that type. But he was well beaten on the day, but it was still a great run, and I think he'll do a lot better over a fence. And as I say, in a normal year, he'd be a big player. And I think he is. He's a horse with a good chance. But when you're taking on the like of Envoi Allen, it's very strong.
And Barry, obviously a lot of people aren't allowed to do what they usually do these days. So there's a lot of time spent at home, a lot of time, free time indeed. It's the perfect opportunity, many people would say, to broaden your horizon as far as literature is concerned. And by pure coincidence, I believe you have a book out.
I have. Well, it's been going on a while, Matt. We started on it it's over 12 months ago. So it's gone through my career and youth, and there's lots of highs and lots of lows and lots of insights of what went on, and I think it's an exciting read.
What's the title? Like Bazza, the nation's hero. What have you called it?
True Colours, it's called, Matt.
True Colours.
Yeah, it's all out.
Well, Cyndi Lauper. Okay, and basically it literally goes from the moment you started off, how you got into racing, family, all that kind of stuff, going to the end. Well, not the end,
the whole story through from the end of my racing career as a jockey, anyway. Yeah, all the way through from a kid, from starting out in pony racing to starting with Noel Mead, then winners, injuries, as I say, Cheltenham's, entries, highs, lows. It's all in there.
Barry, give me your one novice chaser to follow.
I think to me, he looks like he's going to be a superstar. Is Envoi Allen?
Envoi Allen
oozes class.
Blakey.
Class.
Tell you've bamboozled me with your rubbish talk there so much I can't even remember what I put up.
We'll put up the caption for you, Kevin. It was only one novice chaser you had to pick out. You went for Easy Work, which is, judged by your performance on this show, what you've just had.
Yeah, I made the case for him already, Matt. Hope he'd be the type to improve for fences, might settle him down a little bit. And I think he's one of those that if they rode him good and positive and good and aggressive, we might see the very best of him. So yeah, he's my one to follow. Trying to stay away from the obvious.
And I have to say, although I've put Shishkin down the bottom there, and a lot of you will be just saying, well, that must have taken a lot of coming up with. If I reckon if you asked 100 people just to give the name of the novice chaser they're most looking forward to this season, 100 people would just say Shishkin straight away. Maybe one or two for Envoi Allen and none for Easy Work, to be quite frank. Look, it's been fantastic to have Barry Geraghty, literally a legend of the turf. Remember, his book is out. Get that for Christmas, whatever you do.
There you go.
There it is. Look.
True Colours.
I was wondering where you were going, Barry.
And Kevin Blake, who luckily has not got any books out. But remember, you can catch all of Kevin's articles online on the social media feeds of At the Races, and they are always a great read. So that was the Jumps preview, looking at the novice chasers. But elsewhere on the At the Races YouTube feed, you can find sections on the established hurdlers, on the established chasers, and on novice hurdlers as well. It's just time for me to say goodbye and to thank Betfair once again for their kind sponsorship of the Jumps preview show.